Buongiorno, ChopperFett Familia. Welcome back to the channel. I hope your year's been going good so far. We're hitting riding season, and it's coming very soon, very soon. Let's go ahead and roll the intro, and we'll get to the subject at hand today. Roll it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel here today. Oh god, I've been blessed with some really good weather lately. This is technically being recorded on the same day as the fairing video was last week, so I do apologize if there is a little bit extra wind noise. Going forward, I'll be doing vlogs without the fairing on there. But I was already out and about today. I didn't want to go home quite yet, so I figured I'd go ahead and talk about something else that kind of came to my mind the other day. Harley Davidson, I feel like, is a premium brand, and to be part of that premium brand, you have to pay to play the game. That doesn't just apply to motorcycles. I mean, that can apply to anything. It can apply to your hoodie that you wear, your helmet that you use, the gloves that you use. I mean, everything always seems to have a premium brand and a maybe not quite as expensive version. Now the reason I'm bringing that up today is, no, this is not another knockoff fairing versus official fairing. No, this is about something that the Harley Davidson Motor Company has done that has really intrigued me. So I think it was last week, as of recording this, Harley Davidson released this bike here, which is the 2020 or 21, I'm not sure which they're classifying it as, but I'm pretty sure it's a 2020 Harley Davidson Softail Standard. And when I looked at that, I was like, good bike. But then I saw the price, and so I didn't, my brain didn't say, oh, standard, it's going to be a stripped down model. My brain didn't go there. My brain just like, well, it's a nice bike. I imagine they were on 16, 17 for it. Go online, they're wanting $13,500 for a brand new Harley Davidson Softail. That's insane. I've always been interested in the new Softail line, so I did a little bit of research on it, and there's been plenty of videos about it to this point. But a while back, I made a video of my next 3 motorcycles I would be interested in getting, and guess what, guys? This one kind of fits the bill as well. I kind of think I have to make this a new consideration. So let's start with the motor. The motor is just going to be the 107 Milwaukee 8. Now the 107 is not necessarily slacking in its own right. I mean, when you put it into a lighter bodied bike, not a bagger, the 107 performs very, very adequately. The torque is there. And you could still do stage 1, even stage 2 with some cams, and you could have that real feeling of the 114 pretty easily. So the fact that it has a 107 does not actually detract me from it. Now let's oppose that to the Sport Glide that I do like as well, where it has a 107 in it, and I'm probably going to get a rip for this, but I feel like the 107 in that it's the same motor, but I feel like the Sport Glide is heavier. I'll post the stats here to see if I'm a dum-dum or if I'm a genius. So moving on, I mean, the rest of the bike, Harley nailed it. It's a blank canvas, and I don't know a lot of people who buy a motorcycle, specifically a Harley Davidson, and don't customize the motorcycle. Derby covers, forward versus mids, handlebars, wheels, seat, all that stuff gets changed out anyway. The point I'm trying to make here is the Harley Davidson Lowrider in the Softail, not the S, just the regular Lowrider, is about $3,000 more than this bike. Now you might get some more chrome, you might get a couple other bells and whistles with it, some premium wheels, etc., etc. But guys, aren't you most likely just going to change that stuff anyway. Why not just go ahead and use the money that you would have saved on buying the Lowrider versus the Softail standard and make it your own? Or you're financing less if that's the route you go. You get it paid off sooner. You can enjoy it. It's yours that much quicker. Well, maybe not quicker, but for a lower price for sure. As far as where it ranks into my top 3, well, if I'm adding it, it's now my top 4. And I would have to put it actually underneath the that's tough. I don't even know what my top 3 is anymore, guys. I have to rethink that. Just because my mind changes daily. Heck, next week the Softail standard might drop out of my top 4. I want something else. But yeah, I mean, when you look at that bike, it's got spoke wheels, which I know spoke wheels suck. But if you can go a tire session or so on them, you know, they are going to be a pain in the butt for a little bit. If you can get past that, put some different wheels on it. You know, customize it, powder coat it at the same time. But the fact is, you're going to be paying to do the same upgrades on that Lowrider that you would be on a Softail standard, or Street Bop, or whatever other cruiser type bike. I guess I don't see now the point of some of these more expensive versions. Now the Sport Glide is a little unique in the fact that it has the bags, and those bags you cannot buy directly, I think, as a kit from Harley Davidson, at least as of yet. So that bike does have a unique advantage over the Softail standard. But how much you want to bet Viking bags or Dyna Pros or whatever the V2, 3 bags are, how much you want to bet they come up with some sort of a side saddle bag as well? It's going to happen, and I bet you it's going to be less than the markup is on this bike versus the Sport Glide. Now there are options that can increase it. They do have 4 different variations that you can customize it with straight from the factory. I do kind of like the, I think it says California style, which, you know, they're trying to still appeal to that club style look. Pretty obvious on that. It does look like they have a more of a touring option, and these kits are all about $1,500 to $2,000 or so. So you can get that straight from the factory, and that's cool, great. But you're still just basically, you know, I don't know. I don't like buying parts when I buy a bike, I guess. I want to venture out into other brands, the mom and pops, what have you. But I don't know, that's just me rambling here this morning. And kaboom! Last time I rode over that bump, it was not that bad of a bump. So what do you guys think of this new Softail standard? Is it appealing to you? Or I think what it's going to do is it might start to lure in the younger demographic. Now, I'm at the top end of a millennial. I was born right after Gen X stopped and millennials started. With millennials having such a fixation on price tag and affordability, I think this is a viable option. They can get a new Harley Davidson with a big Milwaukee 8 in it for not much more than some of the Sportsters that are out there, like the 1200s and the Roadsters and things along those lines. The price difference isn't that much difference, and you get a much bigger bike, much more comfortable bike too. So yeah, it's definitely something for me to think about. I don't foresee myself getting a new bike anytime soon. There's some major expenses coming up for the next 18 years. But you never know. Maybe I get the raise at the work and they give me lots more money. But we all know how that happens, folks. You get more money, you end up spending it, so. Anyway, I hope you guys again are enjoying the channel. I do appreciate the support. It's been very surreal to see the channel growth, so thank you. I do appreciate it, and I will catch you guys on the dark side next week. See you guys.